No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News as we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out lithiafordboise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, greetings. Welcome courtside here, ExtraMile Arena. This is the start of a probably 90 minutes or so pregame show here, the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show, as we get you set for a massive Mountain West showdown, the first of 5 live guests scheduled to join us here today. Our man, Derek Clark, the play-by-play man. You'll be hearing him. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. This is everything you want to see in a Mountain West game this late into February. I expect both teams to get after it, and both teams need it, as you know.
Yes, Derek will be on the call on Fox Sports 1. You were on the call for the Boise State Nevada game.
I was.
The
that
other
was a fun
day.
one. Yep.
You've done a couple, you said, games of both these teams, so you're pretty familiar with them. And obviously, as you tweeted last night, a lot on the line for both teams tonight.
Yeah, well, the second New Mexico loss, it really kind of opened things up for both teams, because now Utah State is obviously in a position where they just fell into a tie with New Mexico at the top of the Mountain West standings. And so what's on the line for them is they can, they've been trailing. They've been at 2 all year long, and New Mexico's had 1 loss. And so they can they can be in front. Obviously, they'll be tied with them in the loss column. But then if you look at, Boise State with the San Diego State win, not only do they need to keep pace with San Diego State, but now, since New Mexico lost, and now that Utah State's coming in here as the number 1 seed, this is a good opportunity for Boise State to make one last statement to the NCAA tournament committee, because right now, as most people have them across the networks, they have them on the bubble right now. So this is a prime time opportunity for Boise State to add to their resume. I think a loss really, really hurts them here. They really need to win this game.
Now, you've been traveling around primarily doing Mountain West games this year. I mean, this has been quite the conference this year. I know maybe not the getting the talk of the 6 teams of last year, but what's it been like for you, man, traveling around and going to some of these venues and getting to, like you said, sit courtside for games like tonight?
Well, this is my 3rd year. I started doing these games about 3 years. Actually, it's funny because my first game on FS1 was these 2 teams in this this very arena. Marcus Shaver was your point guard. Stephen Ashworth was their point guard. So, they kind of just – Fox has me doing kind of a lot of the West Coast games because that's where I'm from. I'm from Los Angeles. So, I've thoroughly enjoyed this Mountain West Conference, getting used to it. I went to UC Santa Barbara, so I'd been in the Big West for 7 years. But the Mountain West, the one thing it's kind of unfortunate, BJ, is that it's changing. It's not gonna be the same in the next couple of years, and I'm a little disappointed that the conference is kind of going to change and break up a little bit with the new Pac-12 coming in. But the Mountain West has put out a lot of great teams, and it's really earned respect as a conference. I mean, they've been better than the Pac-12 the last few years. So it's a great experience, and I hope to continue it next year. And Boise State will always kind of be a special place for me because this was my first game on television.
There you go. And these teams have had some classic battles. I mean, the game earlier this season down there in Logan, a 2-point game. We see Tyson Degenhardt out here getting up some shots. What's it been like kind of watching him? He's 93 points away, I think it is, from the all-time scoring record at Boise State. Obviously, seeing him play this year in his overall game. What are your thoughts on Tyson Degenhardt?
Yeah, actually, I talked to Tyson a little bit in shoot around earlier. He's more than ready for this game, and he's just one of those guys that if you take I said this on the broadcast against Nevada the other day. You take away his last name and you just put the name of his school. He really is Mr. Boise State. Leon Rice said at Nevada, he said his statue should be on Kellen Moore Boulevard right next to the Ashton Genty statue. So, the one thing he's got to do, and I'm sure he knows this, if he wants to play at the next level, he's got to knock down that 3-point shot consistently. He's more than capable, but just a pro's pro. Tyson is, he's all class, and he's going to cut it close, but he's got a chance here to get that all-time scoring record.
We're going to take a quick 30-second timeout. I got to fix the camera. Derek's too good looking here. I messed up the camera. Give me 30 seconds. We're right back on Bronco Nation News.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.
All right, we're back momentarily here, Derek. Sorry, we're dealing with some technology issues here. But, all right, so give us the overall thoughts on Boise State. Obviously, you mentioned on the bubble, they're fighting here, trying to get in 4 straight tournaments. Cardenas and Degenhardt have done their thing, but some of these other guys have stepped up lately. I know you talked to Leon for a good amount of time before that Nevada game. Just overall, what's your take on this Boise State roster?
Well, I really think last year Max Rice was really, really good, and Roddy Anderson had some potential too. But I really think what they needed, I think a reason why you guys didn't have a lot of success in the tournament once you got there, you didn't have a pure point guard like Cardenas. I think if you get into the tournament, having him there as the ultimate floor general, settle down the offense, and he plays like 34 minutes a night. I think that's the difference in this team from last year. Although you guys aren't as high into you guys in terms of this year versus last year, even though last year I thought you could have been better than a first four
a lot
team.
of people thought that too.
Right,
yeah.
But I think if you get to the tournament with Cardenas as your point guard, I think that was an excellent steal, literally a steal from San Jose State. But I think really what is the underrated part of your team is your bench. I mean, Javen Buchanan had that monster steal against Kobe Sanders when it looked like you guys were all being set up for a Kobe Sanders game-winning show. Everybody in the gym thought that was going to happen, and they get from game to game. So I think for Boise State, what sets you guys apart is if you can get consistent production from your bench on night in, night out basis. I think that will help your team going forward. But I really think it starts and ends with number 11 at the point.
And we see Jared Calhoun out there literally rebounding for some of his players, the first-year Utah State coach. I've had him on my show a couple of times at Mountain West Media Days, and so I do the Lindy's Magazine stuff, talked to him a couple of times. But to come in here and kind of keep this thing rolling the way he has, what's your take of this Utah State team?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you what he said. He says that they need to rebound the ball. That's the number one thing to do against you guys, and then execute their offense. They have one of the best offenses in the country. I mean, I think they're top 10 in the country in every single category you can think of. And it's funny because Utah State doesn't really have a superstar player that you go into a game and say, we're going to shut him down.
Yeah.
They really do it by committee. They got a guy in Drake Allen coming off the bench who's 7th in the league in assists and doesn't even play a lot. And that guy's coming off the bench, but then you got a guy like Dayton Albright. He wasn't even starting the first part of the season. He throws him in, and I think he's got the quickest twitch in the conference. I mean, from 0 to 60 when he gets downhill, I mean, that dude is a tough dude to cover and stay in front of. So he gives them a dog at the point guard spot, and then Drake Allen coming off the bench to kind of steady things down, like a change of pace type thing when those two guards are off, on and off the floor. But then they got this guy, Dexter Acano, who is just shooting the cover off the ball. And I don't know why teams leave him open, to be honest. I don't know what's going on there. I was like, hey, I asked Calhoun, is this guy the most underrated great shooter in the conference? And, Utah State is definitely good. The one thing about Utah State that can get them in a little bit of trouble here is their defense isn't great. It's good, but not great. But offensively, they are elite. And Calhoun has got this team humming. It's crazy. Utah. I mean, I did Utah State was my first game 3 years ago, and
here you are, man. Full circle moment.
Three coaches later. 3 years, 3 coaches.
That is crazy. Yeah, and it sounds like they're working on a deal to keep him around, though, which would be nice to not have to go 4-4 here.
Right.
What's final thing, man? We'll let you get ready for your prep here. Just what's your take on this matchup and just some of the storylines and things you'll be kind of following and your bullet points for your broadcast tonight on FS1?
This won't be a blowout. Oh, I mean, shouldn't be. Like I said, both teams were both sitting at their hotels or wherever they were. Boise was at home, but they were all watching New Mexico and San Diego State last night. So they know what's on the line here. I think if I had a team that needs it a little more, I think Boise needs it more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Utah State can afford a loss. I don't think they're going to fall out of the NCAA tournament picture unless they just go on a super cold streak. But the committee likes Utah State. They've been ranked this year. I think last time you played you guys, they were ranked 25. So yeah. I think Boise State needs this one more if I'm going to pick a team that needs it more. But it should be a great matchup. It's stylistically two very different teams offensively. You guys kind of like to play a little slower. Utah State likes to get out and push the break and shoot a lot of threes and make a lot of threes. So it should be a great game, and I'm excited to call it.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Been fun getting to run into you multiple times here. You got any more Boise games left? You back at all? Or
so I'm done this year so far. Yeah. I mean, obviously I can be thrown in, but as far as I know, this is my last one.
Okay. Well, appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping on FS1 8:30 Mountain Time. You'll be on the call, and we appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot for coming on.
All right, BJ.
There he is, the great Derek Clark. We appreciate him for coming on, and you can just set the headset right there. Perfect, man. Appreciate you. Derek Clark does a tremendous job on FS1. Being at these games, I always miss him live, but I'm able to jump back in and hear the replays, and he does a tremendous job. So, again, this is the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. We're dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we're making it roll. Hopefully you can hear us okay, see us okay, and get your score predictions in, your thoughts, your comments. We got Abe Jackson coming up shortly, the color guy for the Broncos, the number 6 all-time leading scorer. We'll hear from Johnny Ballgame as well, KTI Carry Radio. But excited to welcome on our next guest. You know him from the Top of the Mountain West podcast. Does a tremendous job covering the Mountain West, and we've gotten into it on Twitter a little bit. But I'm excited to put the beef to the side here, so to speak. But Tom Moser, appreciate you, man. First time having you on, but I've been listening to your podcast and said, you know what, this guy knows his stuff, and this is the perfect time to have you come on and talk Utah State, Boise State here. How you doing, man?
Good, BJ. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you do a tremendous job. Now you're jumping into the live post-game shows and things as well after some of these games. And like I said, your podcast is a tremendous thing. And this game tonight, man, massive game. You just heard Derek Clark, the FS1 play-by-play guy, breaking it down. But New Mexico takes the L yesterday, so all of a sudden now you got a Utah State team coming in saying if they win this, they're in first place. Obviously, a lot riding for both teams here. What's your take on this matchup?
Yeah, I'll echo several of the things that Derek said. For one, not that Utah State needs any extra motivation, but certainly you see a tie at the top of the standings, then your guard's going to be up a little bit. They're not going to be caught sleeping here. So full motivation for Utah State. But as you said, and everybody up there knows, full motivation for Boise as well. They're pretty much on last call here. They can't afford any losses. But, I mean, for how they kind of started with some tough losses, albeit, for them to be in this position where they can kind of control their own destiny by all accounts for most bracketologists and get a chance to play in, as you said, their fourth straight NCAA tournament, they'll take that every day of the week. They got from what I see from your tweets, should expect a massive crowd tonight. So hopefully they're loud. And, they got the tough games, knock on wood, left at home. So everything's right out in front of them. And that's why Derek alluded to it. It should be a really good game tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. It is close to a sellout, whether or not all the fans show up for the 8:30. Are you on the East Coast, by the way?
Yeah.
How do you I wanted to get into that, actually. Just your love for Mountain West basketball. How did you get into that? And for you, as a Mountain West guy, watching a lot of these games, they don't start till 11 p.m. Eastern time. How do you make that work, man?
Well, so just to be quick on the story of how it started, since I am an East Coaster, I grew up watching ACC and Big Ten basketball forever. But when I had a little one around the COVID time, that kind of disrupted my television watching. Then it's in the 7 and 8 o'clock hours. And so when we put her to bed, one of the things that is great about the Mountain West, and there's several, but the fact that the TV contracts are pretty darn good. I know people complain because sometimes the games come on late, but the way the starts are staggered, you get two different channels. The days of the week are set up nicely so that I can watch the games here. I don't need 8 hours of sleep. I can function on 6 hours. So it's rough getting up to go to work at 6:30 in the morning after I'm up to 1:30 after a late game. But I mean, look, the product's a good product. The contracts are good for TV. And I just think it's a great conference to follow.
All right. So some of our, I don't want to say beef, but sometimes when I get a little sarcastic with you and stuff. First of all, most of the time I wish there was a little sarcasm button on Twitter at times, because I like to troll people and have some fun with it. But I do feel at times that it maybe you haven't been as high on Boise as others have. Maybe that's my blue and orange colored goggles, whatever. I get it. But what's your take on this program? And obviously, after the Colorado State loss a month ago, people are wanting Leon Rice fired. They lose to San Diego State the other day, and people are saying Leon Rice fatigue and it's time to move on and all this crazy stuff. Just from afar, seeing them, what they've done. And I know you haven't followed the Mountain West, like you said, that during Leon's whole tenure here, but to see what he's done with this program, to have them at least back fighting in the mix to try to go for a fourth straight. I know where they were the preseason pick. A lot would say it's been, a little bit of a disappointing season to this point. But just what's your big picture take on this program and on Leon Rice?
Yeah, well, first of all, as you and longtime fans up there know, be careful what you wish for. I mean, look, plenty of programs have gotten rid of coaches because they have fatigue or they think it's time for a change, and it doesn't go as you wish. Leon obviously knows what he's doing. I may not have followed the Mountain West, but I've watched college basketball for 30 years, and I know that Boise State basketball was not must-see basketball in the 90s and 2000s when I was a youngster. They've become a consistent winning product because of Leon Rice. So is he perfect every year? Probably not. Have they had a slightly disappointing year? Maybe a little bit so. But I think, again, you get rid of Leon Rice, you're going to be in 3 years saying we wish we had this guy back. As far as your first point, for Boise this year, and I agree with you. First, I will say that there's probably fans of half of the schools in the conference that think I'm harder on their team. I will say that I am a little bit harder on Boise, and it's half tongue-in-cheek. Like, I picked them to win the conference 2 years in a row now, and I like to be right. I don't want to sound like a fool if I'm the one talking about the conference and watching every game and following everything. So I'm harder on them because I have high expectations. And then so that kind of it shows its way in both sides. Their opponent tonight, Utah State, hasn't had those expectations the last 2 years. So I probably do speak more glowingly of them because they're exceeding expectations. Whereas Boise, maybe not last year, but this year has kind of underwhelmed slightly. But obviously the program's trending up right now the way they played over the last month. They laid one egg in Viejas, but with the exception of that, they played great basketball the last 4 or 5 weeks. And this is what Leon Rice does every year. His teams are playing their best basketball towards the end of the season.
His name is Tom Moser, does a tremendous job covering Mountain West basketball. You can follow him on Twitter. I know you have a coach's background as well. What is Coach Moser? It's at Coach Mosser is the Twitter feed here. I asked Derek about Tyson Degenhart, but I wanted to get your perspective. You know, he's under 100 points away from the school record here, 4 regular season games to go, plus a Mountain West Conference tournament game, at least one. So he needs to average somewhere about 18 points a game here in the 5 guaranteed games they have left to set the school scoring record. And yeah, this isn't like, you know, setting the Kansas or Duke all-time scoring record. I get it, you know, in terms of the history here in the program, but they've had some NBA players. They've had some really, really good college players come through this program. And Tyson Degenhart, only 2 scheduled home games remaining. I would assume at worst be in line to maybe host an NIT game at some point if they don't get in the tournament. But 2 regular season home games remaining in his career. Just as a basketball fan, as a Mountain West fan, what's it been like watching Tyson Degenhart the last 4 years?
Well, I will say first, I've seen, you know, he seems to be, Derek kind of said it too, he is really like Mr. Boise State, right? He like many of his peers could have gone, I don't want to say anywhere in the country, but he certainly could have gone to a Power 4 school and gotten an NIL bag to play somewhere else this year. He chose not to do that. I you know, by all accounts, and you could probably confirm this, he's got a great relationship with Leon Rice. He enjoys being there on campus. He enjoys like everything that Boise State is. He stayed 4 years. That doesn't happen very often anymore. So I appreciate the guys that do that. I know I sent a tweet out maybe a month or so ago after one of their losses when I kind of maybe put some dirt on the grave of Boise a little early and said, it's sad for it to end for Tyson Degenhart like this, one of the best players in conference history.
I may have that bookmark, Tom. You may be seeing that tweet surface again at some point here. Don't worry.
And listen, I'm happy to own up to that. I'm happy to say I was wrong on that one. If anything, I'll be happy to eat that one. But like, I got blowback from people saying that like he's not, I didn't say he was a top 3 player in the conference's history, but you have to give some extra credit to the guy for playing 4 years here and being like the consummate player. Like, he never causes any problems off the floor. He's never getting himself in any trouble. He's the guy you want to coach if you're a coach. And so that's why it's been a great relationship with him and Leon for those 4 years.
I will say this, though. I agree with you, and it's actually one of the reasons why I've remained bullish on Boise State somehow, some way getting in the tournament, because I've said it numerous times, but it just doesn't seem right for a guy like Tyson Degenhart to have his career end like this, and for a guy like Alvaro Cardenas to never get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. It just seems like that, I know things never work out the way they're supposed to, but if there was ever a script you could have written or a way this season could have gone for Boise State, it'd be Tyson Degenhart being a part of the first win in program history, and a guy like Alvaro Cardenas just getting a chance to play in March Madness and let other people around the country see the type of player that this guy is. And obviously a lot still has to happen, but that's kind of why I've always, and I agree, after the Colorado State game, when Leon called it rock bottom, I mean, people were saying that, and I was saying same thing. Yeah, this is not how you saw it going for, and I'm not saying after the Colorado State game, I'm sitting there predicting they were going to, go on a run and get into March Madness. But when you looked at the schedule and you saw who they had some winnable games coming up, and a lot of the top teams in the conference still at home, and the way they had lost a couple of those games really close. And like I said, maybe it's the blue and orange goggles, whatever, but I just didn't see Tyson Degenhart flaming out in his senior year and having them just tank down the stretch. You just knew that. I would have been really surprised if that happened. And here they are back at least in the conversation. What do you make of their at-large chances here? I mean, they have to obviously win this game tonight. They have to probably win out here, I think, to have any kind of real chance. But they're sitting, somewhere in that next four out from pretty much everybody at this point. If they can win this game tonight and win the regular season, in the last 3 games and It'd be 10 out of 11, one loss since January going into the conference tournament. I mean, I know the bubble's pretty bad this year, but I mean, do you still think that if they can find a way to win these last 4 games, that they could find a way to still? I mean, this might be the happiest trip to date Leon Rice has ever had. But I mean, do you still see a path for them to get in here?
100%. I mean, look, you never know what the committee's going to do. We saw that last year. They didn't exactly treat the Mountain West with respect. But the real and I know that the big name bracketologists are the ones that a lot of people follow because they've been doing it longer on CBS or ESPN, the Lenardis and those guys. But the ones that like really kind of are in the know and do a better job are the guys on Twitter. And the one on there that I trust the most right now, he's pretty adamant that if Boise, I know it's a tough ask, but if Boise would win out here, they would get in. Now, a lot of things can happen. Somebody be a bid stealer, couple bid stealers in the conference tournament. Somebody goes on a run and wins 5 games in a row. That's close to the bubble. Anything could happen, and you never know until you see your name on the bracket. But if they win tonight, they avoid the bad losses. I think there's a pretty good chance that they get in the field. Yeah.
Which would be pretty remarkable when you think about it. 13-7 and 5-4 at one point in the conference, and the win over Clemson, the win over St. Mary's. I mean, those continue to look better and better here. And I mentioned Alvaro Cardenas, man, but what a joy it's been to watch him play this year. And I obviously knew about him watching Mountain West basketball. You knew about him, but getting to know him and the leadership and the ownership he takes when they're not playing well, and just the type of person he is, in addition to the player he is, it's been incredible to watch. And I know there's a lot of fans that feel the same way as me. It's a darn shame that he's only going to be wearing a Boise State uniform for 1 year, because he totally has changed the look of this. And like I said, you watch him on TV a couple times, you think, yeah. But I mean, as someone that's literally been in the attendance for all but 1 or 2 games this whole season, some of the passes he makes on a nightly basis, it's just incredible. And even a game like the other day against Nevada, he's having a pretty good game. You look up with 3 minutes left, and he has 8 assists, and you're just like, oh my gosh. I mean, like I said, I know you've known him, and what Derek Clark was saying is 100% what everybody in Boise has said. No disrespect to Roddy Anderson, but if Cardenas was on this team last year, they're probably in the Sweet 16. I mean, that was the one piece they just needed. But Anderson was a great – people want to get on Leon for, Dylan Anderson not working out in the portal, but Buchanan and Cardenas, I mean, they went 2 for 3 in the portal, and it's been pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure. And you said it. I mean, look, Cardenas, I remember way back when they pretty much were about to sign, get him. You contacted me and told me you were excited. And I thought it was a great pickup because he's a true point guard. He's a guy who he'll shoot the ball, but he's not a shoot first point guard. He wants to set guys up, and that's what you need. They have scores. Obviously, they thought they'd have another one with Abo, but I mean, they have Degenhart. So he can make shots, but he set the table for Amari Moore 2 years ago, and Moore was player of the year at San Jose State. So he's got experience doing it. He doesn't need to shoot 15 times a game. He's like you said, I'm not surprised to hear some of those things off the floor and in the locker room as him being a leader. He knows how to play the game. He's like a coach on the floor. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets into coaching in a couple of years, and that's what you want as your point guard. So like you said, he hit on 2 out of 3 transfers, and I think most coaches would take that every year.
Give us your thoughts. Again, Tom Moser, our guest, for a couple more minutes here. Abe Jackson's going to join us, John Mallory, but Tom does a tremendous job covering the Mountain West, the Top of the Mountain West podcast, and all over social media. Make sure you check him out at Coach Moser on Twitter. It's Coach Mosser. But what's your take on this Utah State program, man? They continue to find ways to win, and I think they were picked 6th in the preseason poll in the media. And I do the Lindy's magazine stuff for the Mountain West, and I think I might have had them 4th just based on talking to some other coaches. But that's obviously even low to this point. What he's done building this roster and the success they've had. Jared Calhoun, I know at the time, Youngstown State, kind of an interesting hire, but he's obviously kept it rolling and then some there in Logan.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, look, it helps when you bring back 2 horses like Falslev and Martinez. I mean, and then he did a pretty nice job in the portal too. And let's give credit. You don't see it happen a lot, but guys, and Boise's had guys do this over the years, but Templin has really improved too. He was kind of like a 10th or 11th man last year, not getting a lot of run. He's been a really serviceable backup post for them this year. When Gadaretse gets in foul trouble, it seems to happen a lot. But, Calhoun, he knew he was not – one of the things that he does, and he's gotten credit for this, even though it might not be a super zone anymore, but he knew his team was going to struggle with the personnel that he had playing man-to-man defense. And so he put this matchup zone in, which is it's difficult because you don't see it a lot. And it's thrown teams for loops. Boise handled it well when they played down in the Spectrum 6 weeks ago, and so maybe that's their advantage tonight. But that's real, he plays up-tempo on offense. He plays a different style on defense. He's got a deep bench, and that's a pretty good recipe.
All right, so final thing for you, Tom. Just this, I know we talked about the importance of this matchup in the opening question, but the actual matchup itself, you mentioned Boise State shot the three extremely well down there in Logan, and if not for a 4-point play, probably gets the win there, but was up double digits in the second half, is not able to hang on and falls. What do you make of the rematch tonight? How Boise State is going to be able to again attack that zone? And I think Boise State's Leon wouldn't really admit this to me when I asked him yesterday, but I feel like the matchup and the fact that Utah State just doesn't have a ton of size on the interior, that it's a pretty good matchup for Boise State from that standpoint. But obviously a lot of shooters, a lot of guys. But when Boise State's been playing small with Degenhardt at the 5 some and stuff, it doesn't seems like, there's San Diego States of the world. They're obviously a much worse matchup than a team like them, but very good team. Boise State nearly beat them there, though. What do you make of the X's and O's of this matchup, and how do you see it playing out, man?
Yeah, from a schematic perspective, Leon probably feels okay here, right? Because not only did they shoot the ball well, but they shot the ball well down in Logan because they ran good zone offense. They moved the ball, they spaced the floor out, and they got good looks, and that's why they shot at a high percentage. Also, when you play an unorthodox zone like this, the first time you see it, you often struggle. When you see it a second time, because you've already played against it, things will open up a little bit. So another advantage for the Broncos in this one. The set on the other end of the floor, Utah State was able to win that game because they have so many weapons offensively. If also having an off night, as Derek Clark mentioned, Akano can go off. Tucker Anderson can go off. Drake Allen. They just have so many weapons. The one thing, though, with Boise, as we know, and this is part of their resurgence here, they've gotten better defensively. If you look at the minutes distribution from that first game, BJ, some guys that were in the rotation then aren't in the rotation now. RJ Keene didn't really get any minutes in that game. He's out there now to D it up and be the intangible guy. So Leon's got his rotation more set right now. So he has to feel comfortable at least that he can slow them down. He took the transition away the first matchup. He doesn't want to let Utah State run. So maybe a little bit of a slower game. And I think a lot of those things work in the advantage of Boise State. If they can get a big game from Omar Stanley tonight, I think a lot of things work in their favor here.
Well, they just opened the gates here an hour from tip-off. The crowd is filing in. As of this afternoon, there was only about 100 tickets left. And, again, that doesn't always mean it's going to be full here in Boise. 8:30 start. We'll see who actually, if all those tickets get used. But should be fun. Tom, hopefully you got an extra cup of coffee brewing tonight. Appreciate. At least you only got one game. No channel surfing tonight, at least to focus on. That should help.
Yeah, I know. No late starts. And, well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably a game before it that'll run over. But at least, one start and that's it. So should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Appreciate it, Tom. Maybe we can do this again before the Mountain West tournament. But hopefully everybody will follow you on Twitter. And you do a tremendous job covering the league, man. And appreciate your time tonight. Enjoy the game, man.
Thanks, BJ. Enjoy. We'll talk again.
There he is. Tom Moser does a tremendous job covering the Mountain West Conference. Our man Abe Jackson is going to join us momentarily. I do want to tell you real quick about rowpaint.com, ROEpaint.com, our title sponsor. Hit them up, rowpaint.com, all your painting needs. Concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting. They do a tremendous job. Hit them up at rowpaint.com. And Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com as well. Taco Bell Works, if you're looking for a job, they are hiring. And the food's pretty darn good as well. You can hit them up at Taco Bell. My kids had some Taco Bell after baseball practice tonight. And Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile eBranch online banking right there in your smartphone. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Make sure you hit them up for all of your banking needs. And we welcome in our next guest as we continue to roll along here on the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. Abe Jackson coming over from his courtside seat. Abe, you adhered to the blue out today. You've got the blue on, and appreciate you as always, man. This should be a fun one tonight.
It was just kind of a lucky flip of the coin. Got gray underneath. I thought I'd throw something blue on over the top. Worked out.
I think you set that out this morning when you got up for work. You said it's a blue out tonight. I'm going with the blue jacket.
Through text message or all of my social media streams that I have, yeah.
Abe, obviously Boise State coming off a couple of nice wins, but those wins really don't mean much of anything if they can't get the win tonight.
No, and you could say that really about each one of these games down the road. I mean, really, each one of these games, the last four, I think is a trip to the NCAA tournament. I mean, you got Utah State's going to be a great win if you get that for Ken Palm, and then you go on the road to two really bad teams, and if you lose one of those, of course, your bid's going to be gone. Then you end up with a home game, which you gotta protect your home court when it comes to these rankings. So I think these next four games, each one you can look at, this is like, okay, you get this, you're into the NCAA tournament. But then you got to get the next one and the next one and the next one. So 4 games in a row, I think if they do that, what will be 10 out of 11, 11 out of 12, something like that to end this regular season. That's a hell of a run. 1
loss since January right now is where they're at. So they've been playing really well. It would be 6 in a row. And you feel pretty good about the 3 remaining. I mean, at Fresno, at Air Force, those you don't deserve to be in the tournament if you don't win one of those.
Right.
Those have to be wins with how those teams are playing. And then Colorado State had a chance to beat them, if not for a late 3 at their place. Tyson Degenhardt's senior night. I mean, you feel pretty good about them finding. I mean, this seems like the one tonight that really could determine things here.
Well, the way that this Bronco team plays at home, you have your last 2 home games against teams that beat you on last-second shots. I mean, Boise State was up 3, and then a 4-point play happens at Utah State, which is the weirdest thing. Or were they up 2 or 3?
They're up 2, and then it was a 4-point play to lose by 2. Yeah.
I mean, and then you got a last-second shot at Colorado State too. So if the Broncos, if the normal Broncos that have shown up all year at home show up, they're going to win the next 2 games at home. I mean, they're playing defense much better. Their average wins by over 20 points all season long in this building. They shoot the ball much better. And then they're coming off of a nice win last time they stepped foot in here against New Mexico.
Shout out to the fans that come in right when the gates open and run right up to their seats in the last row of the stadium. Like, come down by the court for a little bit, get a beverage, hang out. No, they want to go make sure they get in their seat way up there in the last row of section 52. But I will say this already for 55 minutes. I mean, the crowd is nice, steady stream. There's the Draper family right there. I mean, it's a nice steady stream, and they're expecting this to be close to a sellout tonight.
And I think it needs to be. I mean, not just because the Broncos are on a run, when you want to watch them play, of course. But Utah State coming in. Anyone who's watched Boise State basketball for quite a long time knows the rivalry between these teams. We're pretty close when it comes to conference teams in the Mountain West. They're going to bring some fans here. The environment there is always crazy. The environment here is going to be crazy tonight. And, of course, just Utah State. You go through multiple conferences. And I think if there was one team that you could pull somebody, fans here, if one team that you want to see them beat consistently, I would guess it would be Utah State.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it because I even forgot. I mean, there's so many great games in this series. We all remember the game, the guard that had like 17 points in the last 4 minutes of the Ray J. Dennis. Went crazy against Utah State in a big comeback. And then even last year I had forgotten, but boy, that game went to overtime. Boise State was going to win the game. Omar Stanley misses a free throw. Ian Martinez, there's that guy again, goes the length of the floor and hits a layup with like 2 seconds left to send that game to overtime. And Danny Sprinkle and company end up sneaking out with a win. I mean, it just seems like all the Nemish Keita games when he had like 30 and 21 game.
The Marcus Shaver stepped back at Utah State for the game winner.
Yep, when Mawad Narmouche had like 20 and 20 in that game or something. Yeah. I mean, and they're coming to the Pac-12 too, which I know some people were like, what are you doing bringing Utah State? Was that a panic move at the time? But it's drivable. It's a good rivalry. I know Utah State will have some good fans here, and like I said, most of the time, pretty good matchups.
Yeah, and they're going to be competitive in basketball. I mean, just look at how the administration works at Utah State, and you can point to that administration as being so strong because they have gone coach after coach after coach, 3 coaches I think in 4 years, and they've gone to the NCAA tournament with new program, new coach, new players, and so I think that speaks to the administration and the support that they have at Utah State. But that being said, they're still Utah State.
Travis Hawks is in the building tonight. We'll see if he can get into it with Jared Calhoun like he did. Our friend Richard Patino. That was a fun last game. You had fans getting kicked out, fans yelling at coaches. You're hoping tonight again. I'm not advocating anyone get ejected, but just the energy, the passion in the crowd. It should be a good crowd. And Boise State saw firsthand in Logan, what a crowd can do, and it'd be nice to return the favor tonight.
Yeah, and the Broncos have had some good crowds here. There was a nice one against New Mexico, which I think really helped, especially when they went on that second half run and got an 18-point lead against the Lobos. And they're going to need the crowd like that here tonight. And I think they're going to be jacked up. I think people don't like Utah State. They don't like If you've ever been to a game at Utah State, then you really don't like Utah State. And so then, I think you're going to have a great crowd, and I think the Broncos are going to come out on top because they play so much better at home.
I do have the water here for Coach. If Boise State wins tonight, I may ask Coach Rice on the post game if he wants to get a drink of water. This was the water they passed out at Utah State. It said Tears of Leon. It's vegan and free of sugar, sweeteners, success, gluten, and nepotism. And then it said, learn more about Boise's NCAA tournament win-free program at broncosports.com, and it is 100% salt water for Coach. I think he'd have some fun with it and take a drink, maybe if Boise State won the game. But
is it really salt water?
No, it's just a bottle of water.
Okay,
they put a new label on it to have some fun with Leon, and I was saying this on the pregame show, but they had that temper tantrum tracker going in Logan. Yeah. Well, they end up donating money to a local food pantry based on how many times they flipped it that he argued, and Leon heard about it, and he matched the donation or something and donated to the Logan, Utah food pantry because that's the kind of guy he is. So I think that they have the surgical gloves that all the students wear there. I don't know if they're going to be passing those out here tonight, but there's already 30, 40 students in the crowd tonight.
It's going to be nice. In Logan, I think it's Byler. Exactly, Logan. Exactly. Despise Utah State because of my experience down in Logan. Yes, if you've ever been to a game there, it really is an experience, and you want nothing more than to leave that building with a win. Unfortunately, it's been a lot of losses for Boise State there, but it does feel really good, just about better than anywhere else to get a win.
Well, if Boise State wins tonight, and I don't think it's the right time, or Coach Rice doesn't want the water, maybe you can take a big swig on the post-game show. Tears of Leon, the Utah State water. I made sure to save that. But what do you like, Abe? One loss since January, like we said. They've won 6 out of 7. 2 in a row, obviously 2 massive games here to kind of flip the script on the season here. But what do you like most about the way they're playing right now?
I think everyone is really comfortable in their roles right now. And I think it's happened a little bit later than some of the other Coach Rice teams, but it took some adjusting to the starting lineups, and it took some adjusting to how many people play. Because when you have that many people that were playing before, 11 guys, you're asked to do something different just about every time you touch the court because someone else is on the court that might have done what you did before. But now it's a little more simple on what they're doing. And also, let's be honest, they're just playing better. They're playing better defense. They're rebounding. They're shooting the ball better than they have. Some guys who were struggling earlier having better games. Carmichael, I mean, he wasn't struggling. He just wasn't playing, but he's playing well. Omar Stanley had a nice game against New Mexico. So I think that this team is really rounding out into shape. And yes, it might be a little bit later than it's happened with some other teams in the past, but I think it's happening.
And the defense has stepped up as well. Evident, no more than that last-second play, Javen Buchanan getting the steal.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, just great, amazing one-on-one defense, poked the ball away. And then the play of the game was that he poked it away, but then he dove on it. Kobe Sanders, he was reaching down to get it, and then all of a sudden, Javen dove on the floor and was the aggressor, got it, led to an Andrew Meadow dunk. And then, of course, the game was sealed at the line a little bit later, but great individual play by Buchanan.
Final thing or two for Abe Jackson. You'll be on the call in about 15 minutes with Bob Beeler, 670 KBOI, Learfield, the Bronco Radio Network. But down in Logan, when Boise State almost won that game, they obviously figured out that zone. They hit a lot of threes. There was 14 or 15 threes. I know you can't expect that to happen again, but those were good shots because it was good ball movement stuff against that zone. What's the given? Does Utah State try to switch it up a little bit? Is it just, hey, good luck making those threes again? If you hit 14 and beat us, we're going to tip our cap. What do you see in terms of what worked well for Boise State in the first matchup and how they replicate that tonight?
Well, it really wasn't about offense for the Broncos in that first matchup. It was about defense. They gave up 80% shooting in the second half. I can't think of another team in the country who's given up that type of shooting in a half. So the Broncos offense was definitely clicking, one of the best shooting nights that they have had, but also they gave up 80% in the second half, which kept Utah State in it. When the Broncos kept hitting shots, Utah State just kept hitting shots as well. So I think the Broncos are going to do a nice job against the zone and look for Buchanan to kind of like work his way around that free throw line. He hit a couple mid-range jumpers against Nevada, so he has that touch, and that is a zone buster. You get it to that middle, that free throw line or elbow area, if they collapse, then he'll kick it out. But I think Buchanan could have a good game.
Yeah, they shot Utah State did 61.2% for the game.
Yeah.
And you almost win the game anyway. Boise State did make 14 of 26 threes. They shot 53% themselves, but Abe, final thing. What are your kind of keys here? What are you and Bob going to be focused on and on your show, on your broadcast? And What does Boise State need to do here to pick up a massive win?
You have to learn how to beat that zone. I mean, this zone is something that is it's tough to deal with, but it's the second time around, so you're a little bit more used to it. And, I think the Broncos are going to handle the zone, but then just rebound and don't let them have second chance points because you cannot give up that type of shooting again.
Going to be fun, man. Crowd.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a nice crowd, fun atmosphere, and have a good call, man.
All right. Thanks.
Dave Jackson, appreciate him for joining us. The number 6 all-time leading scorer at Boise State. Appreciate him for joining us here on Bronco Nation News. We're going to get John Mallory in here shortly. We'll thank a couple more sponsors here real quick while we get Johnny his mic set up. But appreciate Dave Jackson. Appreciate all of you. We are live on the Lithia Ford Boise pregame show. Get your score predictions in, your thoughts. Who's going to be your Boucher Real Estate Player of the Game? We'll get to all that shortly. We'll tell you about the veteran officiating crew we have as well coming up shortly. We want to tell you about our post-game show sponsor, Jackson's. Make sure you come back for the Jackson's post-game show here on Bronco Nation News after the game. We'll have the Jackson's post-game show. And if the Broncos can find a way to get 70 points tonight, you can get a hot dog, a fountain drink, and a banana at Jackson's on Friday. 2 days after the game when the Broncos score 70, use your Let's Go Rewards app, and you get $2 hot dog, fountain drink, and banana at Jackson's, courtesy of our sponsors at Jackson's. Again, the postgame show, the Jackson's postgame show, coming up after the game. And don't forget, 99-cent coffee anytime, day or night, from our friends at Jackson's when you use Let's Go Rewards app. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game, thespateam.com. Whether you're looking for a spa, whether you're looking for a pool table, whether you're looking for a sauna, they got you covered at Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Snake River Pool and Spa. View their options and full inventory at thespateam.com. I mentioned Travis Hawks is in the building, the blueandorange.store.com. This should be a who's who tonight. And the Blue and Orange Store is a big supporter of ours, so we appreciate them. Travis Hawks and company. You can order online anywhere in the world at the blueandorange.store.com. Bumper stickers, car flags, jerseys, caps, all the Nike sideline coaches apparel. They got you covered at the Blue and Orange Store and the blueandorangestore.com. Still thinking how great Snake River Pool and Spa is, but Blue and Orange Store is great as well. Make sure you check them out. We appreciate Travis Hawks and the Boise Town Square Mall there, the second floor next to Pro Image. They've got some great daily deals, clearance racks, things like that. So check them out at the Blue and Orange Store. Lithia Ford of Boise as Johnny Ballgame gets set to join us. Lithia Ford Boise, lithiafordboise.com. They're our pregame show sponsor here, and they've got an event coming up on Saturday, 11 to 1 on Saturday. You can meet their NIL athletes, including Cage Casey, Latrell Caples, 11 to 1. And this is a pretty cool deal they've got going on here. You can test drive an F-150 on Saturday, and one of the Boise State football players will ride along in the F-150 with you on Saturday at Lithia Ford of Boise. So if you're interested in checking out the new vehicles they have at Lithia Ford of Boise, and also possibly meeting a football player, getting some autographs, you can do that again at Lithia Ford Boise, lithiafordboise.com. All right, we're back live looking at ExtraMile Arena. Nice crowd filing in, going to be close to a sellout. John Mallory, host of Prater in the ball game, KTIK 95.3, The Ticket, joins us as he does on most pregame shows here. And I got to tell you, Johnny, 49 minutes from tip-off, but it seems like there is, in fact, a little buzz here in ExtraMile Arena.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie on that. There is a buzz here, and there's some buzzed people, man. I just talked to a couple of them, and they're ready to go for tonight. I could tell they were pre-gaming it somewhere.
And James, hopefully.
This will be the best atmosphere I think this arena sees this season. I think it's going to be tonight. If Boise State plays well, stays in the game, or just murder faces the Aggies tonight. And then this place is just going to, the roof, you've been, it gets white noise. This place gets really loud. It'll be like that tonight, BJ, if Boise State plays well. And I think they will.
Greg Myers is on his way in. Thank you for listening, Greg, on your way down. We'll see you in here. B-Town says, let's go. Ball game is the best. Johnny, we were here a week ago. Much different feeling for the New Mexico game. Boise State coming off the San Diego State loss. Obviously didn't look great, but They beat New Mexico. They go to Reno and get another nice win. That's now 6 out of 7. They've lost 1 game since January. We mentioned a little buzz in the stands, but a little buzz just around this program again. Still fighting for an at-large bid, and it seems like a late push here. And at least, if nothing else, we've got some meaningful, fun games here down the stretch.
Tyson Degenhart said a couple of days ago, in regards to Leon and the staff, like they believed in us. When Leon said the rock bottom moment, I don't know if he said it on here or he told it to Bob or both of you guys. But Leon said after that Colorado State loss, rock bottom. And Tyson just said, you know what? He never let the confidence get in the way, always kept it. And took them a little longer this year to kind of get this thing going, but it looks like they've still got this thing going. And you look at their record and where they are. Yeah, you'd like to have, if you could have 2 of those 3 losses in the last 10 seconds back, man, it's a completely different season. And and that's what's tough about college basketball. But BJ, looking at it, they're almost kind of where they should be as far as their record, you could say. But I still think there's a lot of meat on the bone. I think if they win tonight, I think they win out. Don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is
if they win tonight.
Well, you mentioned this being the best atmosphere. Maybe till next Friday. Tyson Degenhart's senior night, if they're going for 6 wins in a row, could that be a court-storming game? If Tyson gets the record, they win to cement maybe or to help their case for the NCAA tournament. Does Tyson Degenhart deserve to be carried out of here on the shoulders of fans in his final home game here?
I think I was just crunching the numbers with Nate over here, Carol, and I was talking about it with Prater earlier too. Like, he's going to have to drop about 25 a night up until senior night.
Yep.
And even if that's the case, he's going to need 18, 17 that night. Yep. So I don't know if Tyson's going to average or drop 75 points over the last 3 games here, but that would be sizzling. Think about this. John Anderson tipped me on this one. Tanaka Beard is in town for the Big Sky tournament this year, which starts the Saturday after that Friday. Good chance Tanaka Beard will be in Boise Friday night.
Wow.
The all-time scoring record holder. And I don't know if they know this, if they talked about it. Maybe me talking about it here gets it out there. But, BJ, you're always talking about, show a little more. If Maddox Madsen's here, man, sit him courtside. Find a seat. There's seats open.
Yes.
And they should do more of that. This would be cool if Tanaka Beard came back and Tyson was within reaching distance. And even if he's not, it's cool for Tanaka to come back and see Tyson Degenhart play in person.
Yeah, I know Prater wrote a column about that over in the fall. Tanaka came back to go into the Boise State Hall of Fame, and Tyson presented him with a jersey, and they got to meet and stuff like that and talk. So, and let's be honest, Johnny, Fresno and Air Force, 2 games on the road, those are opportunities where maybe Tyson could go point hunting a little bit.
Right, he could, Josh. If he's aggressive in the first half, right, but if he's not against those teams, he's going to end up with 7, 9, and that's what obviously he can't do if he wants to, be more cognizant of the record. I think, though, if you just let it play out, it feels like you're going to get it. Hopefully it's not in an NIT, CBI, Vegas invitational tournament, though, right? Because that would mean you're one and done in the Mountain West tournament and you didn't get into the NCAA tournament.
You would think this probably happens in Vegas if you were a betting man. First or second game of the Mountain West tournament.
It looks like it's going to happen.
Well, all you need to do is go have another 27 points tonight and change the map.
Yeah. What do you think he's dropping tonight? You're going to give him 20?
Oh, I think he gets over 20 tonight. And we talked about this, Johnny, but the first half, certainly, he's got to be aggressive. He's got to get going early. And I don't know if this is the Tyson Degenhart. Was that you or Tuss, by the way? We need to get to the bottom of that.
About what?
On the last game against New Mexico that said we haven't had the Tyson Degenhart game. He hasn't gone for 30. Tonight's the night. Was that you or Tuss? I think it was you, right?
Okay. I'll claim it. It probably was. It's usually me. Yeah.
Great Nick Duncan in the house tonight. This is, I think, going to be one of those who's who, right? I mean, if you're a Boise State fan with tickets, aren't you coming to tonight's game?
Oh, BJ, I love you, man. Yes, Nick Duncan, he needs to show up for the Utah State game, right? This is like homecoming.
Is he wearing the shirt? Is he wearing the shirt where he's flipping off the crowd, maybe? Or
let me ask him.
Let's see if we can get Nick Duncan to Nick. What is he wearing the shirt? Is he wearing? Oh, Nick.
He is not.
probably that was a famous picture, though, him flipping off the crowd in Logan.
That's
after
what's
a big
beautiful. Win. Like, Logan has a relationship with Boise State players that we wished on Idaho Sports Talk that Boise State fans had with Utah State players. Like, for example, like, who's the most hated Utah State player in Boise State history? Is there that guy? Like, if you ask Utah State fan that, oh, dude, they'll give you Max, but they'll also give you Nick Duncan, big time, right? I mean, and these fan bases go back, and they have a fun relationship. Utah State does, but Boise State too. I mean, there's just most people here, BJ, are 57 years old.
Now, RJ Keene told me and Jay on his appearance this week on BNN that he is going to shoot and shoot early. Look for an aggressive RJ Keene tonight. What do you make of that?
He guys, in warm-ups here, you can see, I mean, RJ makes as much, if not more, than most of these guys. So, but I like RJ letting the game come to him.
Going in from Keene here?
Here's what I say. They're winning. RJ is letting the game come to him. Yes, it went in. But, gosh, I don't know if I'm sitting here saying, BJ, dang it, there's a lot of problems, and it starts with RJ Keene not scoring. I don't know if I'm ever thinking that. Now, just let the game come to you and stop passing up open shots, which he does, because I just think when you get in a rhythm of not shooting, you're helping the team in other ways, which he is. And BJ prediction, though, RJ Keene, he's going to score a 3 early.
Tater, that'd be nice. Tater Girl 36. I'm here ready to fire up section 12. Let's go Broncos.
Hey, where's section 12? Where's Tater Girl?
Tater Girl, where are you at behind the basket there? Give us a wave or something for Tater Girl. I can't. Maybe she's behind the basket or something there. But appreciate Tater Girl 36 for watching the show here. Jordan says over under 7 assists for Al Cardenas tonight.
Over
7 assists.
Over. I think this will be a big Alvaro night. I'll give him 8 or 9. I don't know if it'll be double digits. It depends. They have to hit threes. This can't be, BJ at halftime, they're 2 for 13 from the arc, right?
Yeah, they made 14 the last time they played.
Oh, they're 4 for 27. Yay. Like they can't have one of those nights. I got a feeling. I just don't think they will. I think this team, in my opinion, should have beat Utah State in Logan. Okay.
Yeah.
They should have had them there. I think they're going to get them here, but I mean, gosh, Utah State, as you've said, it feels like a little more to play for. These kids pay attention to that, and they full well know they can lead Boise tonight in first place in controlling their own destiny, not only to be the 1 seed, but really solidify not only a spot in the tournament, but try to get a line where you might be able to do a little bit of damage with. Utah State's never had that magical tournament run that so many programs that are successful like them have had. Loyola Chicago, that stuff. Like, Utah State gets to the tournament all the time. They've never really had the opportunity where they've got out of the first weekend and had that national story. Maybe this happens with this team.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. Utah State basketball, the coaches keep changing, but the winning doesn't stop, man. And they're going to the NCAA tournament. But no doubt, I don't know if it was the Grove or where they put up where the visiting team stays when they're in town. But there's no doubt they were all watching that game last night before bed, finding out they now have a shot at first place tonight.
I wish New Mexico would have won that for a ton of reasons. Right, BJ?
Don't we all?
I wish New Mexico would have had that. Richard Pitino, your buddy. Dang it. I wish New Mexico could have stolen that one. But no, San Diego State's good. They win big games. They win big home games all the time, even without their best and their big, not their best player, but their best prospect. I'll give you that. And you could maybe argue he's their best player, but he averages 7 points a game. So it's not going to affect the spread that much. But he is, no question, their best NBA prospect. And for them to be able to get that win, I thought that was impressive. Right. Dutch, she does such a terrific job. I mean, the coaches in this league, I love covering the Mountain West. It's a coaches league. And I say that because most teams have about the same level of talent. So it does come down to coaching in many cases to make the difference. It's a coaches league, and there's some good ones. And it looks like for whatever reason, like you said, Utah State hit it. It's like they hit 3 home runs on 3 different pitches from 3 different pitchers, BJ.
Yeah. By the way, my son apparently wants one of the Nick Duncan shirts, so we'll have to see if we can get that done. But if they would, it's a silhouette of Nick Duncan flipping off the crowd.
Just had a birthday, your son.
No, that's my other son. But yeah, Nellie's birthday is coming up here in about 2 months. So.
Joey Jenkins sighting. He's walking right there. Yeah,
is Joey
shaking hands with the lady.
Is he going to have to beg tonight, or are the fans going to stand on their own?
Yeah, what's Joey's role in this tonight? Let's break this down. I mean, for Joey Jenkins, more people will be here. And, I don't know if that means you show more emotion or maybe even a little less. I don't know what Joey does.
I don't know if they're going to need him. He's been borderline begging fans to stand in recent games. I don't know
if
you're
going to
have to do that tonight. They're going to be standing up on their own tonight, man.
People don't stand. It's just here. I don't see it a lot.
Final thing before we let you go, Johnny, just your take, man. This team, this matchup, their NCAA tournament hopes, just kind of what's your final thoughts as we get ready for a big one here?
I'm looking for Sire Gaines, man.
It's a little early for Sire Gaines.
I was thinking about this, though, BJ, and we're right next to the student section, and we see all the football players. I shouldn't say all of them. We see the football players that do show up, and I get it. They have lives. I'm not going to plan Maddox Madsen's social calendar and be like, why aren't you at basketball games? Come on. But of the stars that come most often to basketball games, wouldn't you say it's Sire Gaines? Of a big name on the team.
And he stays till the very end a lot of times, too. Yeah.
I'd say it's Sire Gaines.
Yeah.
He's at most of these games. And
who's the one player where if he was sitting courtside and they put him on the screen, obviously, last year would have been Ashton Genty. Who's the guy right now that if they're trying to fire up the crowd during a timeout, they put him on the screen and he starts, going like this? Is that Madsen? Is that Gaines?
Mad Dog.
Is that James Ferguson Reynolds? I mean, where are you going here?
I mean, Mad Dog could Bolt do something. JVM, I don't know if enough fans know him yet.
Andrew Simpson, maybe an Amarian McCoy.
I was thinking Marco, too. Marco Notriani. I mean, one of those guys, if you put them on the big screen, if it was Marco Notriani, Matt Lauder flexing his muscles, I think people know exactly. I mean, Matt Lauder's really recognizable, or Lauder, one of those guys. Yeah. And BJ's always saying, hey, if you see a star football player here, put a cameraman on him, zoom in, put it on the big screen just during a timeout for 5 seconds and let everybody, it pumps them up.
What if during a timeout they put Nick Duncan on the screen and then he were to unzip his jacket and show that he was, in fact, wearing the shirt of him flipping off the crowd? Would enough people here know what that was from and get fired up?
And if they didn't, they'd just jump along.
Okay.
Hey, I am not buzzed. George, I love you, bro.
You're almost 2 years probably, right, without being buzzed.
Yeah.
That's just your personality, man. All right, we'll let you go, man. Should be fun tonight. You feeling good about a Boise State win? You've been on this pretty much the last several games, right on things.
I think Boise State covers tonight too. I think they look good. I hope I'm not chasing last game's performance against New Mexico, expecting that tonight, but I kind of am. I kind of saw the New Mexico home game thinking, okay, they're different at home. They figured this out, and they're going to be really tough to beat. But then again, this team hasn't been consistent, BJ, so we'll see. How late you on postgame tonight?
I was hoping you'd stick around, man.
I'll stick around tonight, but then I won't do tomorrow.
No, we'll take tomorrow instead, man. We'll let you get some rest. I'm sure you'll be here for the postgame interviews. You'll file some audio back for KTIK.
I may not go to
bed
interviews
about 1 a.m. tonight, but
I don't know if I'll make interviews tonight. Seriously, man. This is an 8:40 tip, 8:30.
Yeah.
Well, I do enjoy your post game. I listen to it on the way home.
You enjoy it more after they lose. I think you enjoy the.
I love you versus pissed off Bronco Nation. I love it.
Oh,
oh my God, what's going to happen if this team doesn't go to the NCAA tournament this year?
Or goes and loses in the first game?
Oh, God. Well, BJ, I don't know how. I don't know what you're going to be able to do.
Can we get you to Dayton? Can be an NPay to get you to Dayton if Boise State makes it? Did we get you to Dayton?
KTIK is in transition now. You know, JP, we said goodbye on Friday to John Patrick after 25 years on that show, and I'm not sure what the next moves are.
Anybody out there that wants to sponsor KTIK going to Dayton, let's make that happen. We got to get that happen.
PJ, why don't they get to Dayton? What are you doing selling travel packages for a team that is barely on the bubble?
I think they're going to go on a run here, man.
No. Are you getting your boy over here on?
We'll get Nathan Carroll on. He's been as an avid reader of Bronco Nation News. I know you're a big fan of Nathan Carroll.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
You need to. I was thinking you should have like a player's girlfriend on or something. That'd be sweet too. You know, just kind of talk. Hey, what's going on? I don't know if the player would appreciate that though. So
which
maybe
player's
not.
girlfriend would you like me to have on?
Whoever you have. Find anybody. I don't know who's who.
Do you know who they are?
No,
or where they are?
No,
okay.
but or a mom is. All moms are always great.
I think senior night we'll get Tyson's mom on.
Yes.
We had Robin Rice on for
she was
Max's
great
last year. Yeah, so we'll try maybe get Tyson's parents on senior night. We'll try to do that. Hey,
right.
Appreciate it, Johnny.
See you guys
Thanks
at
a lot,
3
man.
p.m.
3 p.m. tomorrow, Idaho Sports Talk. You'll see him at 9 a.m. on Bronco Nation News Live first. Hey, Matt Boucher, we'll keep this thing going. Get your score predictions in, your thoughts. We'll get Nathan Carroll's analytical look at this game here momentarily. But Boucher Real Estate, BoucherRealEstate.com. Matt Boucher and Boucher Real Estate, number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, is Matt Boucher and Boucher Real Estate. We'll pick our Matt Boucher player of the game on the post-game show. Make sure you hit up Boucher Real Estate for all your real estate needs. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets as well. Ridley's Family Markets. They've got locations across the Treasure Valley, across the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Ridley's Family Markets. Download that Skip app. Give savings up to 40% off at the checkout at Ridley's Family Markets and shopridleys.com. Hey, you looking for a job? How about Transportation Compliance Service? Transcompservice.com. They can help you get into the trucking industry every step of the way. Ridley's Family Markets. Matt Boucher, Boucher Real Estate, Lean Feast, Transportation Compliance Service. We got a lot of great sponsors here, and we hope you guys will return the favor and support the sponsors like Transportation Compliance Service. If you want to get into the trucking industry, they can help you out and take care of you at transcompservice.com. I mentioned Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. Lean Feast, 10,000 plus combinations, healthy eating options, leanfeastmeridian.com. Lean Feast. Chicken, steak, shrimp, fish, you name it, they got you covered. Leanfeastmeridian.com. Make your order today and have it delivered. And you can get it delivered anywhere in the Treasure Valley. And by the way, it's good 5 days in the refrigerator. So 2 minutes in the microwave. Highly recommend it. Let's get some post-game voicemails. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Nathan Carroll wants your post-game voicemails. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Brought to you by our friends at Signature Roofing. Covering our community for more than 2 decades. Online at mysignatureroofing.com. Signature Roofing, the best in the business, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, all your roofing needs, they got you covered. And we're loving our new roof from Signature Roofing in the Rains house. So mysignatureroofing.com. Check them out today. Signature Roofing and mysignatureroofing.com. We bring you back live. Here we go to Nathan Carroll, our next guest here, our fifth live guest on this hour and 10-minute long pregame show. Support the sponsors, folks. You're watching a free show on YouTube as we get you set for the game tonight. And return the favor. Go support the sponsors. Get Taco Bell on the way down here. Have a few Horseshoe Golden Ales. And support all of our great sponsors that make this show free of charge on YouTube as we get you set for a game tonight. Let us know. Get your thoughts. Your score predictions, your player of the game predictions. How you feeling? Where are you watching from? Let's throw some shout outs out there, Bronco Nation. How you feeling about this game? Where are you watching from? Give us all the good stuff. We bring in our man Nathan Carroll. And Nathan, nice little buzz in the arena tonight. I think this seems like a little better crowd, better student section. Still 30 minutes till tip. I think this is going to be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, people filing in. I tweeted it out about a half hour ago that there was a line from door 2 all the way out to Bronco Lane. Now, I don't know if that's because people thought it was an 8 p.m. tip, so they were getting there what they thought was right on time. But Yeah, it should be a good crowd tonight. I saw somebody on Twitter say that there's no seats left for sale in this one, so should be a fairly full crowd, even when you factor in.
That doesn't always mean that they're going to show up,
Right,
but
right.
the seats may not be available to buy.
Yeah, you got the lifetime ticket holders, the season ticket holders, but it should be a good crowd. At the very least, I'm expecting a good crowd for the fact that it's Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. I think last weekend was a good primer for tonight. Right, because people were aware, Boise State, they had a home game. It's 8 o'clock. It's a Wednesday night. Dang, I missed that one. When's the next chance that I can get to a game? Here you go. 1 week later, 8:30 p.m., even a little later, so you can put the kids to bed and then come check out the game.
I don't mind these late games at all. It does, stink, obviously, being here till 2 o'clock in the morning and waking up tomorrow. But in terms of getting your day, and if I were a fan, getting a chance to go have dinner at home and spend time with the kids, and then either put them to bed or bring them with you, and now you don't have to leave your house till 7:30 or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't mind the late starts. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I get here earlier than most fans and got to go have a family dinner. Went out and had some pizza, spent some time together. You don't get that at a 4 p.m. tip on a Saturday. No, it takes up your whole day. So certainly finding the positives of these late tips, but at the end of the day, if Boise State fans want Boise State to be a high major program, the fan support has to be there, and you've got to be there for these big games, right? Utah State, they're going to be a tournament team, and you get a chance to get them at home with everything on the line, right? Your at-large bids, your seating, everything is on the line here tonight. If you're a Boise State fan and you've got the means to be here, absolutely should be here for this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we're waiting for Boise State to take the court here shortly. This is the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. My name's BJ Rains, and again, go subscribe. $50, BroncoNationNews.com. $50 gets you a full year, and you get to read some great articles from folks like Nathan Carroll, Mike Prater, myself. And again, BroncoNationNews.com. The promo code is BNN50deal. That takes $20 off your first year, and you get it for $50. And Nathan, we posted an article, I believe, Monday afternoon or so that you had looking back at the Nevada game, previewing this game. Let's look back before we look forward. These last two games, New Mexico and Nevada, two really nice performances from Boise State after what looked like another kind of rock-bottom moment against San Diego State.
Yeah, the defense has really stepped up these last two games, especially in that Nevada game. Outside of Nick Davidson and then obviously Kobe Sanders going mental, right, in NBA Kobe Bryant type performance, the defense has really stepped up. They've settled in. And obviously Pearson Carmichael moves into the starting lineup. His emergence against New Mexico was massive, but then takes a step back against Nevada, and Andrew Meadow and Javen Buchanan are able to step up. I think this team is starting to find its form, and they're starting to find guys who can star in a role on any given night, right? It seemed early in the year, 11 guys in the rotation, just too many bodies out there, too many guys who didn't know what their role was. But now you've got Omar Stanley coming off the bench and giving you energy, rebounding defense. You've got RJ Keene giving you passing, connectivity, a little bit of shooting. We saw that against Nevada. And then obviously the defense, as strange as it is to say, because Kobe Sanders did have 30 points, I thought RJ Keene did a phenomenal job on Kobe Sanders in the Nevada game. If a guy's going to hit 10, 12-foot step-back jumpers, you live with those shots. So Boise State's starting to put some things together. Obviously, still some areas of growth you would like to see, but, good enough is all they'll need tonight to be able to grab a win. So last couple games, certainly some signs of encouragement. Feels like guys are finding their role, and you hope that enough guys find their role again tonight.
What do you make of what happened in the first game against Utah State and how that applies to tonight? Obviously, Boise State shot very well from the outside in that game, 14 of 26, I think it was, from three-point range, but couldn't stop anybody. Gave up, I think, 80% shooting in the second half, 61% for the game, Utah State shot. So obviously, Boise State's going to have to be better defensively, but probably going to have to hit some threes again as well against his zone.
Yeah, definitely. Look, anytime you're playing a zone defense, you need to have shooters. You need to be able to knock down shots. The other thing you need to do is rebound. That's something Boise State did really well in that first game. They finished +7 on the glass. Look, when you're playing a zone defense, you're sitting in a zone. You don't have a man. So when a shot goes up, instead of your guy just being there to box out on him, you have to go find a man somewhere in your zone to box out. That leads to offensive rebound potential. Boise State, one of the best rebounding teams in the conference, if not the country. They got to dominate the glass again tonight. They need to hit shots from outside. And then, look, you can't give up 80% in the second half. I think at one point, about the last 16 minutes of the half, I think it was, Utah State scored on 14 of their 16 possessions. You're not going to win games when you're doing that. Look, and credit to Utah State.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
They went 7 of 8 from 3 in the second half. That's not sustainable. So you need to be able to get some more stops. You're going to need to do that if you want to win. Some of that is just hands up credit to Utah State. They hit some really tough shots, but a lot of it was Utah State was getting open looks at the basket. One thing I did to prep for this game, I went back and watched the 2 games this year where Utah State really fell short offensively. Against New Mexico down in the pit, against New Mexico at home, and then when they played UNLV. The 2 teams had different styles to stop Utah State. UNLV was very interior presence heavy, making sure they didn't get open looks at the rim. I don't know how much Boise State can replicate that without a true rim protector out there. But what New Mexico did is they denied shooters from getting the ball. They were extremely aggressive on ball handlers and essentially said, we will let you get lanes to the basket, but we're not going to let you shoot threes. Utah State shot 5 of 31 in that game from 3, in large part because of New Mexico's defense. I think that's going to be the model that Boise State needs to follow today if they want to grab a win. Going to need to be aggressive on shooters, need to be uptight in their space. And if you give up layups, it happens, but yeah, you can't let them shoot 11 from 21 from 3 and expect to win.
And they don't have much of an interior presence in terms of dumping it down low to a guy. So when Boise State does play this smaller lineup, I know they got a lot of very good guards, and I know the zone negates that a little bit, but obviously the Magoon Watts of the world, obviously give a Tyson Degenard a lot of trouble on the interior, but they don't really have that down in the paint.
No, they don't. They love these 5-guard lineups. They'll play 5 out. Everyone's a shooter. It's a very modern way of playing basketball, and I think it's a large reason why they go to this zone look as often that they do, because they understand we don't have 7-footers out there all the time that can protect the rim and play help side defense. So they go to the zone a lot. I think they've got 1 7-footer that they play, and he'll usually get about 20 minutes a game. Otherwise, it's a lot of shooters, it's a lot of wings. So matchup wise, I think both these teams are going to play small a lot. It's going to be a lot of outside shooting. And Boise State, they need to rebound. They need to take advantage of that fact that even though Utah State plays small, Boise State, their wings rebound really, really well. The Tysons, the RJ Keens of the world. And then you got to knock down shots. Too many times this year, Boise State shooting 32, 33% from 3. Needs to be a night where you're shooting 38, 39, 40% if you want to grab a win.
Our man, the BSU pimp, sometimes he comes incognito to basketball games, but he has busted out the pimp suit for this one tonight. So it's a pretty big game tonight when the pimp suit is getting busted out from our man Emilio, the BSU pimp. Bob's got 82 to 76. Luke is watching from Henderson, Nevada tonight. I know there's a big crew watching at Circa tonight as well, the Atkinsons, and I know some other folks are down there at Circa. They're going to put it on the big screen tonight for a little watch party at Circa for this game tonight, so that's going to certainly be exciting. Perry's got 78 to 59 is his prediction. Larry, a New Mexico fan, watching in Albuquerque, has 84 to 70. Boise State 73-70 is Chad's prediction. Sky's got 76-74 and no ejection for Matt Boucher. A key there. Jim, appreciate you over in Section 6. Shout out Jim Kearns watching over in Section 6 right now. The Buchanan family watching back in Indiana, BSU by 5. Josh has 82-72. And the Bayern Way saying, park the bus. Defense tonight is going to be big.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think parking the bus, it's something we saw in the first game. That game finished with 58 possessions, which is extremely low for a college basketball game. So I think there will be a little bit of park the bus, a lot of slow play in it. And I think that I don't think we get a game that's in the 80s or the high 70s. I would expect something around the ballpark of like 74-70.
Johnny called it earlier in the show about Sire Gaines. And Sire Gaines, we can let folks know, is here, has made it to the student section, which, by the way, a pretty good showing from the student section here.
Yeah, they're filing in nicely. I know when we were about 10, 15 minutes after gate open, it was a couple of parents and not a lot of students. And some people on Twitter starting to make some mention of it, but student section's filing in. They're looking good right now.
Boston College getting boat raced by Stanford right now. Not good to help keep that
good.
quad 3.
Not good. Yeah, it's a interesting night on the bubble for Boise State. Before I hopped on, I saw Indiana's in a dogfight with Penn State, which is great for Boise State fans. Boston College getting, I think they had 19 at half, which is not typically what you want to see in an opponent you played. And then there was one other big one that's escaped. Oh, Vanderbilt.
Bubble the last couple of nights hasn't gone their way.
No, it has not. Some of these bubble teams are starting to step up and play well, but the good news is they played poorly enough for long enough that Boise State's in the picture. I mean, you go look at these bracketologists; they are pretty firmly first 4 out territory. A win tonight, and I think you're squarely on the bubble, 50-50 either side of it.
Well, the referees are doing their greeting with the coaches at midcourt. We got a veteran officiating crew tonight. The number 20 ranked ref at Ken Palm, Earl Walton, a Big Ten guy, but was in Reno last night. And I can tell you, who was just in Reno, it's not easy to get to Reno to Boise these days. You're flying back to Vegas or Oakland or somewhere and flying in this morning. So I'm sure Earl Walton had an early morning, but he has been out on the West Coast, did the Ohio State UCLA game in L.A. on Sunday. But a Big Ten guy. He was here, unfortunately, when Boise State lost to San Diego State. But I don't remember there being any big officiating issues in that game. But Earl Walton, the number 20 ranked ref at Ken Palm, is here, as well as Tim Comer. He comes in at number 40 at Ken Palm. He did the home win over Air Force earlier this season. He was in Colorado Springs last night for Colorado State and Air Force, the number 40 ranked official in the country. He was in New Jersey on Sunday for Rutgers USC. Tim Comer, the number 40 ranked official. And then Michael Irving, a former detective in Los Angeles, now a college basketball referee, has done a couple Boise State games this year. Did the game at Wyoming, did do the game at Colorado State when they lost a close one. He's done a lot of Boise State games, Michael Irving, but 3 of the top 60 officials, number 20, number 40, number 60, you'll probably take 3 of the top 60, more times than not.
Yeah, and again, every time we talk about the refs, right, it's you don't want to know their names. You hope you don't notice them. And I think for the most part, Boise State's gotten some good officiating crews, but hopefully it's another good one tonight.
All right, final thoughts here. About 15 minutes till tip-off. They're getting ready for the national anthem. We got to get off of here shortly. What's just your big picture take heading into this one?
Yeah, got to hit threes. We know that, but the one thing I'm looking for, Boise State needs to win the rebounding margin, needs to win it decisively. If they come out of this game +5, +7, Utah State, they've got too many shooters. I don't like Boise State's chances in that scenario. 10 or more. That's what I'm looking at. Set your over-under at 9.5. If Boise State out-rebounds them by 10 or more, I think they win. Wow. If it's less than that, I think it'll be tough. This team, they shoot too well for Boise State to just go possession for possession. Got to create extra possessions to get rebounds.
Well, it should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Boise State, and there we go. We love Taco Bell. My kids had some on the way here. There's Stan Nicolason from Taco Bell. But you have Utah State filing out. Boise State getting ready as well. The national anthem coming up. Big game tonight. Nice crowd. I think it's going to be a big crowd tonight. Looks like everybody's fired up here. We got about 14 minutes on the clock, so this game will start about 8:40 or so, it looks like, on Fox Sports 1. But enjoy the game, everybody. Appreciate you for watching this pregame show. We thank Lithia Ford of Boise. LithiaFordBoise.com. You can view their full inventory of vehicles. And don't forget, on Saturday, 11 to 1, you can go meet some their NIL deal guys. And how about this? If you want to test drive an F-150, one of the NIL guys will ride along with you on the test drive.
Oh, there you go.
You can have Latrell Caples or Cage Casey just like telling you about the F-150 as you're riding around town. Kind of a unique, fun thing to do. So if you want to hang out, get to know some guys, get some autographs, some pictures, that'll be at Lithia Ford Boise from 11 to 1 on Saturday. The TBA podcast. Plug that real quick.
Yeah, TBA podcast. It's a podcast I do with a college buddy of mine where we break down kind of in-depth these Boise State games, about an hour. Usually do a preview, usually do review. It's more of kind of my unfiltered takes, a little bit more of the fan side of me coming out. So you can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, TBA podcast.
Well, we appreciate you, and as long as your wife doesn't go into labor, we'll see you on the post-game show hopefully here. But we appreciate you, Nathan. You're doing a great job with the articles and stuff. Appreciate all you guys for checking us out. If you're in the arena, enjoy the game. If you're at home, enjoy it at home. And hope you guys are having a few drinks and having fun. And it looks like an energetic, loud crowd tonight. A big buzz here. This should be a lot of fun. Shout out to the corral, the student section. I mean, they're in the second deck. I mean, they've showed up tonight. The students are here. Hats off to the student section. They showed up. Good job, students. And this should be a lot of fun. So enjoy the game. They're going to do the national anthem here. We're going to get this thing rolling. And we'll see you on the post-game show. I think, Nathan, if you're game again, probably fire up the post-game show afterwards, and we'll play it by ear. But we'll have interviews, highlights, all that good stuff. Thanks to Jaden Finch for helping us out as well. Thanks to Johnny, Abe, all of our guests. Game's coming up on FS1. Enjoy it, folks. We'll talk to you on the post-game show. Big one for Boise State. Utah State coming up here in a couple of minutes. We'll talk to you guys afterwards. Enjoy it. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
It's game day. Are you ready?
Let's go!
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RovePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.